Today's episode of Desertwood Days with Kathy Blaze is sponsored by Dork Publishing, expanding minds through fantasy since 2018. Learn more at the Dork Publishing website, www.dorcpublishing.com.
I wanna visit all the places nobody goes. I wanna teach all the things that nobody knows. I wanna grow wings, leave the coop, learn to fly. Bungee jump from the tallest building in Dubai. I wanna fly around town in my UFO. I wanna eat real food, not the GMOs. I wanna make moves, call the shots like the boss. I wanna love like I never lost.
Welcome back to Desertwood Days. I am your host, Kathy Blaze. Today's guest, we'd like to welcome Mr. Julian Negrete and Levi Elizaga. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
How are you guys doing? Good to see you.
Yeah.
Pleasure meeting you.
Such a pleasure. I've heard great things about you guys.
No, that's impossible.
Well, you know what? I believe it because it comes from one of my season 1 guests, Mr. Khalid.
Oh.
So I know we're gonna do a better job than him.
Yeah. Hopefully you do.
Okay, we're going to hold you to that. No, it's such a pleasure. I mean, he said great things about you guys. So
love Khalid.
we just had to get you guys in here.
Awesome.
Yep.
So you guys host a podcast called The Low Bar.
Yeah.
Okay, tell us a little bit about The Low Bar.
Well, we sit in a room until we start drinking until one of us passes out, and
That's
then we talk, and then we just press record.
You get really low.
Yeah, we set the bar pretty low.
Yeah, that's the catchphrase. It's well his. He won't let me say it. No, but
It's patented.
yeah, essentially we bring in guests and we want to talk about like entertainment stuff. We interview artists. We talk to filmmakers, sound engineers, people, all aspects of the film industry, and also musicians. We got some painters coming up, like not like house painters, but like like the ones that do it on the canvas.
Sure.
So and I was like, if not, I can get my uncle in there,
Right.
But yeah, so
I can come and help with that.
okay.
There you go.
So Julian, I like to give my audience a little gist of who you guys are as people before we get started about the rest of the interview. Can you tell me who Julian is and how you got started in this industry?
Well, it was an autumn morning. No, I'm just playing.
I knew I had to watch out for this guy.
Yeah, I'm the color commentary. He's a straight guy. Yeah. So, you know what? I think for me, it started when I was a kid. With my father, always taking me to movies, and that's probably a story that a lot of people hear and stuff like that. It's like your dad is the one that introduced you to this kind of stuff. That's what he was into, and that's what I became interested in. And takes me to the movies all the time. We even had like this special kind of bond that we still use today. We did some movies last night actually to go see Avatar.
Okay.
Long movie. I got out there at 2 in the morning.
It's like 3 hours.
I didn't realize when I booked my ticket. But we have this thing that we do because when I was a kid, I remember he took me to see a particular scary movie. And we did this thing where he was like, it's okay, hey, you'll be all right. And he gave me a thumbs up. And I went to give him a thumbs up at the same time. So we like did the thumb thing touch. And even to this day, before we watch a movie, it's like he goes like this and I do that. So like, my dad was a big impact on me just kind of getting into this kind of stuff. And then film school, he's the one that pushed me kind of, hey, this is what you're doing. You should get into it. Helped pay my first tuition to get into it. And ever since, that's where I met Levi too. Regretted it ever since. No, I'm joking. But yeah, and I have a lot of passion for it. I like to talk, obviously. And I enjoy just coming up with ideas. That's how I always consider myself, more than a filmmaker, more than a writer, more than a podcaster, an idea guy.
Okay.
So that's how I would classify myself.
Okay, and Mr. Levi, well, since he took up the whole show, we're going to let you talk about.
Well, my name is Levi, and that's about it.
That's all I need.
That's all I need. But yeah, I mean, I started back in honestly high school. I started taking photography. Honestly, I didn't have like a father figure when I grew up, and so like I had to make it, a point of myself that I have to go out there and get what I want, and so I couldn't figure out what I wanted to do for a very long time, but I know I wanted to do art. I wanted to be an artist. I love photography. I actually loved writing, and so from high school I went to college and kind of figured out what I wanted to do. I wanted to get into film, taking a couple of photography classes and some creative writing classes, and from there, just went to film school, and then that's where I met this guy. And kind of the
And
rest
then
is
you
history,
guys just-
honestly.
Not really.
Yeah,
Not
we
right
did this
away.
whole thing. No,
that's Julian and Dad's thing
yeah.
right there.
No, I guess not. All
He's
right.
not my daddy.
Who's your daddy?
You don't even know, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. No, I made that up. No, yeah. But we in film school we hung out a little bit and stuff, but it really was like after, and then we started doing like weddings together because we're like, all right, what do we do? It's like, well,
So at the weddings, what were you doing?
We're filming.
photography?
We were filming.
Yeah,
Oh,
for-
filming
yeah.
of all the
Yeah, we were
weddings.
doing
Oh,
weddings first for quite some
Long
time,
time.
and then
okay.
decided this is not where we want to be. And so
Right.
we went from doing weddings to corporate events, and then we're like, this is not where we want to be either.
Right.
yeah, and it's like, well, what do we want to be? It's like, well, let's
know.
drink.
So
and
was
do
it that you guys needed to do more creative type stuff?
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think at least for me, my passion was in narrative writing, and so like I wanted to do short films and features
Oh, okay.
eventually, and that's kind of where him and I just started sitting down, like, you know what?
That's true. We did write together.
Yeah, during COVID.
So tell me
yeah.
about the first thing you guys wrote together.
It was
the
actually
pilot episode, Smut.
Oh.
So we wrote. We were like, okay, we wanted to do something, so we started to just
Just
brainstorm
remember,
this
this
thing.
is a PG show, okay?
Oh yeah, I know.
Okay.
I'm not gonna get into too much.
yeah.
I can say that,
I
right?
just heard that name.
I know.
It's a little risque.
It's a risk, yeah.
But yeah, so we were like, let's write this pilot thing about this guy who's on the upcoming who wants to get in this industry, but he has to get into the adultainment industry first. So that's what the show basically is in a nutshell. So we wrote a pilot episode. It's about 60 to 70 page pilot, and we're like, we can't shoot this. We don't have any budget. So we're like, well, why don't let's take this little aspect of it and let's make something out of that. And so we ended up writing another film called Malcolm. And we turned that into like a 3-episode kind of thing. And we shot that. That's all shot. It's in the can. We're working Khalid's in it. You know, and that's where we met him.
Okay.
So and we shot that whole thing. We're editing right now. Episode 1's done. Got a teaser coming out shortly. I'm hoping to put out on the low
Now,
bar in
what's the name
season
of
2.
this one again?
Malcolm.
Malcolm.
Yeah.
We did
Is
that
that the
during
latest?
COVID.
Just the recent one? I saw a poster with him on it. It's not that one. Is
No, it's probably your
No,
other
that's
one.
another short film that I did with him. It was
okay.
called Into the Night. And so
Yes.
that was more of a dramatic thriller.
Yes. It looks pretty
That's
exciting.
really short too. Yeah,
Thank you.
compared to
Actually,
Malcolm.
Malcolm's more of a dramatic comedy.
Okay.
And so it's kind of like where our dynamic is. He writes a lot of comedy, and I write a lot of
Okay.
drama.
Or horror.
Or horror. Yeah, we're both horror fans, so
Oh,
we like
okay.
doing that kind of stuff. But that's how we kind of decided to come together and write something
That
really
is
fun.
awesome. I like that. I mean,
Yeah.
because you merge in two different worlds there together, which is nice.
Yes.
Right. Instead
Yeah.
of, sometimes you find some people that they love comedy, so that's all they do.
Mhm.
Right.
Or horror, that's all they do. But I love that you can combine them together, a comedy and a horror.
Yeah.
I think it's
Exactly.
important to find somebody also who's going to help push you in other directions with it, who doesn't necessarily see things from your point of view. Like me and him are kind of opposites in a lot of things, but we're good at just kind of getting together and bumping heads about it until we get to a point where it's like, okay, hey, this is interesting.
Yeah.
I like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, Malcolm took some time for us to write. There was a
Really?
lot of mapping
Now,
stories.
did you say
out.
Malcolm was the episodic?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
3
Episode,
episodes.
web
Oh.
series.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And are you all completed with Malcolm?
We have the first episode edited. We are working on the second 2 now, which is my job.
Yeah.
So we have a teaser, but we're going to see about dropping that probably on our season 2 for the low bar. And hopefully we can get that going there. But yeah, I mean, we're working on getting it done there. It's it's something we're going to look at releasing. We wanted to release it this year, but just things slowed down and just with COVID stuff backing up. We shot literally during that time,
Yeah.
and that was difficult. We did it
This,
for a
this
whole year.
project was meant to be like a weekend thing, and it turned into a 2-year project.
Yes.
Oh, really?
So
How many
Yeah.
casts do you have for this film?
it's a pretty big
Jeez
cast.
Louise.
Is
Yeah,
it? Okay.
Yeah, there's
Yeah.
a bunch of different locations. I want to say it's upwards of 20 to 30 people, maybe.
Okay.
I
So
mean,
you had
yeah.
mentioned that you didn't have a budget for the previous one that you mentioned
Malcolm.
for Malcolm.
Oh, well,
And-
Smut was the
Smut,
original.
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, so what was the change with the Malcolm? I mean, what did you do different with the budget?
Scaled it down.
Mhm.
Well,
Focused on one character.
Yeah, we focused on one character. We scaled it down, and we kind of, because with Smut, we were like, we're going to go to LA, and then we're here, and then so it's like we start here in Arizona, but then we go here. So it's also a location kind of thing, and just geographical. It just physically didn't make any sense to shoot. We couldn't do it.
Financially.
Yeah, financially. So it was just, that's what we scaled it down. We made it Arizona. We made it, hey, he lives in an apartment.
Right.
He lives in this. He drives the same car I drive. So we just had to bring down that budget with it. Yeah. So, and you know, we made it work.
And sometimes you have to do that.
Yeah.
And you know what? And a lot of times you can't even tell in the end product that you created.
Yeah.
Okay, unless you tell someone, hey, this was actually done in my apartment. They don't know that.
Yeah. And in the gear we're working, Levi has a lot of great gear. He has a red camera, and I mean, like, so he has a lot of good stuff. Thank God that we didn't have to, you know, rent out a bunch of stuff. Right. I mean, we still did have to get some, but
your episodic,
Malcolm.
Malcolm. How did I forget? I don't know why I wanted to say Marcus.
Marcus is better.
Yeah. We're gonna change it to Marcus now.
Yeah.
So
let's go back and reshoot.
Yeah.
Malcolm, I love the name though. First off, can you tell me just a little bit about Malcolm? What it's about?
Oh my gosh.
Well, I guess, like I mentioned, we scaled it down. We took a character from our previous show that we did, or the previous pilot episode that we wrote, and we took the agent character, who was his agent in it, and he's like this downbeaten agent, and he's kind of just like at his wit's end with stuff, and he's trying to help this guy, but he's just kind of a lowlife. So we're like, let's take that guy and let's do like his kind of prequel. Let's see how he kind of started. Marty, who we originally had named Marty, and then we went into casting, and then we saw this guy we love, and we're like,
Emeka.
Yeah, Emeka. I'm sorry, I didn't mention. I wasn't even going to mention his name. Yeah, and we liked his performance so much. We're like, but he doesn't look like Marty. I was like, let's see about changing it. So we're like, how about Malcolm? We're shooting a bunch of names. We're like, that's great. That's the name of the show.
So then we just went and kind of rewrote the whole show just based on
that character coming up in his and what he went through in his trials and tribulations and stuff like that. So, you know, it's like kind of like this prequel to it, but it's set in the real same time as Malcolm. We took some of those aspects of it, but made it for like, hey, this is the internet kind of thing. And then if we get anything picked up with that, hey, we got this, you know, so.
Wonderful.
Yeah.
So you're doing your podcast Low Bar, but you're still doing filmmaking as well.
Yeah.
But Low Bar, was that created during the time of COVID and things or was that always something on the agenda?
Honestly, I think it started a long time ago. You know, Julian had an idea called Movie Fights that he wanted to do for a podcast. Yeah. And at the time I was like, you know, I wasn't ready to be in front of a camera and do a podcast. But the idea floated around in my head for quite some time, and so like this year, we kind of, we're at like kind of a standstill. Like, okay, we need to get ourselves out there more, so we can get hired to do more projects, or at least build up our notoriety. And that's where we kind of both came up with starting a podcast. Okay. And several names later, we came up with the Low Bar.
The other names I won't even tell you.
And what was it about the Low Bar? Why did you select the Low Bar?
Well, I had a really good reason why, and then I forgot it. But no, I think what it was like, I think I got it more eloquent when I talked to Levi, because I had to convince him of it. I was like, I like the Low Bar because, one, I think a lot of people in this kind of entertainment stuff can be pretentious, and they can, their nose is a little higher than others, and I was like, that's not me, and I was like, I've been around people, and I can get along with people like that. That's totally cool. I have friends like that, and I love them to death. But they can be pretentious, and I'll point it out to them. But I was like, let's make it where it's more just a comfortable environment. It's cool. We're gonna drink on this thing. We're gonna talk, and we don't want anybody to be stressed when they're on there. We want them to be themselves and loose. And and it was like. It's like
we don't have them be themselves. Just get them drunk so they can be themselves.
Exactly. I think that was really the goal.
They don't spit out all the secrets.
Yeah, when I asked
all your secrets.
Yeah, exactly. What's your social?
What's your social? Don't go on the show.
Write it down the release.
You really set the bar low.
Yeah. So I think that's just where we kind of came up with that, and then the name was really good. Everybody likes it. We got a lot of good feedback from it. And so, it was like, great, we got something here. And, we kept moving forward with that.
Awesome. So I know you brought some media today. So why don't we take a look at that?
Okay, sure. Yeah.
The biggest issue with American Idol and switching from Fox to ABC is that when it was on Fox, when you got to the top 10, everyone got a freaking car, and I was like, dude,
what?
I was like, I'm getting a top 10. I'm getting a top 10. Got to top 10. They gave us a thermo bottle.
No car?
What?
Dude,
no
it was
car.
a bottle. It was like a 16
Was there a picture of a car on the bottle?
Nope, it was a picture of my face. I was the only one that like the printer f***ed up on, and my face was pink on it, and they gave me a huge double chin. And I was like, they really want me out of here.
That was fun. So he was expected. He made it to the top 10.
He got fourth. Yeah.
He got fourth.
He got fourth.
I think he came in third.
Yeah, he was thought it was third, and then we said fourth. I was like, you're not as cool.
Yeah, not cool. Yeah, why are you on the show?
And he got a thermal bottle.
He got a thermal bottle. Yeah, and he goes into more stuff on American Idol on that episode, and it's just some crazy stuff that he gets into and starts talking about. And we want to have him back again there because he has more stuff that he just wants to go through. And he's still doing music, and he's a great singer. I don't know if you ever heard of Wakecoda, but yeah, he's great.
He's incredible.
He's a great
Is he
singer.
here local?
Yeah,
he is.
We
Yeah,
need to get him on the show. Yeah.
I'll tell him.
Yeah.
He would come on here and play the guitar for you or something. Oh yeah, he's great.
He's a funny guy. He's really funny.
Levi just pointed out that I'm wearing the same shirt.
What is it?
We just
It's a
recorded that
Stranger
episode.
Things. I'm promoting Stranger Things. I'm on season 5. No,
You play a Demigorgon?
Demogorgon.
Now I see you guys work there. I see why you guys work so well together.
I don't see it.
You just you really do complement each other.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That is good, and you know that's the type of partner you want to have when you're working together.
I think so. I think that it's important to have, like
Chemistry.
the personalities. I got a big personality,
Yes.
and he can be a little bit more, but then when we start rolling, and then it starts going, I think that, it runs really well.
Yeah, for
It
him,
shows that.
this is like his zone. Like he's
Right.
comfortable.
I'm like this all the
For
time.
me, I know he's like this all the time.
It's exhausting.
In front of and behind the camera. For me, it's like it
He
takes a
said
minute.
it's exhausting. Is it exhausting for you?
It's not. I actually really enjoy it.
Because he doesn't
but
do anything.
I'm just waiting for Julian. Come on, Julian.
No, you may be so low, you may not even want it.
I know, right?
Let Julian have it all.
Way too low for me.
Yeah.
So, do you guys have any new projects coming up?
Yeah, we're actually we're producing a big project in January. I have a production company called New Vine Visuals, and so that's the company we use for like Into the Night and Malcolm.
Okay.
But we're also producing some short films that I got reached out to from other directors, and it's called The Most Passionate Death.
Oh.
And so it's a dramatic thriller about this detective who's on a mission to find his mother's killer.
Oh.
And so that's what we're filming in January.
Okay.
It's been kind of a long process, but we're getting there. We've been doing weekly meetings just to get all the fine details in.
Wonderful.
We've got a big cast, lots of big things happening. We're actually renting out the Chateau Levi in Chandler, where they normally film weddings and stuff. And but he wanted to get like a big looking mansion to kind of house like this big boss and this big big party that we're going to be filming there, and so that's been kind of a logistical headache, but it's coming together. It's coming together really well.
Awesome.
So we're excited.
Am I invited?
No, actually, I took the name off the list.
So I like to ask this question. You guys are young filmmakers, entrepreneurs. What advice would you give to someone that's looking in at you and want to do what you're doing, but they don't know how to get started?
Honestly, I think my biggest advice is, follow your dream, follow the ideas that you have. Don't hesitate. Just go out and do it. If you don't know how to do something, research it or talk to the people around you who are experts in that field. But the biggest thing for me that has always pushed me back or was, hesitation or what people think about you. And it's always the comparison that, that slows people down. So don't get in there. I mean, it's easier said than done. But...
And I like that advice that you're given because someone might be intimidated by a Julian because he's outspoken and he's
abrasive
very,
and rude.
very confident in what he's doing, but someone new starting off may be intimidated by him. So I like the advice that you gave.
Yeah, I mean, speaking from an introvert myself, it's like a switch. You just got to turn it on. You got to be able to just go out there and do what you love. And if you love it, do it. Otherwise you'll regret it.
Julian.
Yeah, I think for me, it's more about connections. It's more much say networking stuff. For me, it's more like getting on a set, meeting people and talking with them. Because the way you get jobs and the way you move forward in a lot of this industry is not necessarily what's talent. It's also just, making a friend with somebody,
right.
Because like you meet a buddy. I've never been the best videographer or anything, but then when I hooked up with Levi, he was like, hey, let's go do weddings. Started doing weddings, and then I wasn't the best editor. Julian, you edit the weddings. I got better though. Well, not with the videography, it's terrible, but the editing, I got a lot better, and that's where I found my niche. And so I think for me, it's about those connections that you make with people, and how you can go ahead and just move forward with those connections. Wherever you can meet them, if it's on a podcast, you reach out to somebody that way. If it's on social media or if it's on a set, that's probably the best way to do it, is because that's where you build bonds, is on sets.
Sure.
It's a rough day, you're there. And you guys are you're getting something done. You're being creative, and then you just start shooting jokes around. And before you know it, you're best friends. And you're just like, hey, I remember this guy from this thing. Yeah. I can't tell you how many times that happens when we're like, who can we use for this? And we're like, what about such and such?
Right.
And that's...
So connections is a great thing you're saying. So where can our audience find you guys?
Low Bar?
They can find me outside.
Yeah. By the door. Yeah. The Low Bar, we're on Instagram, at @the_Low Bar.
Okay.
They also have a website. It's the Low Bar Podcast. Also lowbarpodcast.com.
Okay.
I forgot to add the .com and the other one, but there you go. On there we have all of our shows and stuff. We're on YouTube, but you can get through our YouTube link through our Instagram.
Awesome.
We're planning on going to more, but that's where we're at right now.
Awesome. Well, it was such a pleasure to have you guys here with us today.
Yeah, it was great being on your show.
Thank you. This was awesome.
Thank you. And thank you for joining us here today on Desertwood Days, and we'll catch you next time.
Today's episode of Desertwood Days with Kathy Blaze was sponsored by Dork Publishing. Visit them at dorkpublishing.com.